Hi, I'm Natalie, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite make-ahead meals. This is a citrus quinoa bowl that's filled with greens and yummy stuff. It's great for like lunch prep the week before if you want to do that. It's great for a quick and easy dinner. I love it because you can pre-make most of the ingredients and just assemble it when you're ready to eat. I'm also going to show you my quick recipe for a homemade creamy apple cider vinaigrette, which is the dressing that pulls this all together. So let's get started. First, for our citrus quinoa bowl, there's a couple things you can prep ahead of time. So one thing I like to do is to prep my quinoa. I love to cook quinoa in broth, so vegetable or chicken. It just adds so much flavor. You can make a big batch of this. You just replace the water with broth. It's usually a 2-to-1 ratio, so 1 cup of quinoa, 2 cups of broth, and that is great to make ahead. Another thing I went ahead and made ahead too was some roasted butternut squash. So you can buy a whole butternut squash and peel it and cut it up if you want. I just buy the pre-cut stuff at the store. It makes your life so much easier. I toss it with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, 30 minutes at 350 degrees, done. Super, super easy. If you want to learn how to peel butternut squash, that is on the blog and I will link to it. But for this, just, roast some cubed up butternut squash for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. Just gonna set that aside for later. And now let's get started with our bowl. So, what makes this so healthy is we've got some kale here. You can use curly kale. I picked up dino kale. I really like dino kale in this one because it's softer, it's a little bit less bitter. But all kale and dark leafy greens can be a little bit bitter, so we are going to massage them. If you've never massaged kale before, I definitely suggest it's something that you do. It really helps with the flavor. It also helps you digest it a little bit better. You can eat it raw, but it's better when you massage it. So what I'm doing now is I'm removing the stems. This is the really crunchy part. You just kind of fold the leaf in half and then cut off the leaf from the stem. Just like that. So I am going to do this for about half a bunch of dino kale. Once we're done, we're gonna have about half a cup chopped up. If you make a little more, that's okay. You can use it in regular salad, you can make more bowls, whatever you want. All right, now we have all of our stems off the kale. I am just going to chop this up, kind of making it into little ribbons, I guess, if you will. And then over here, just get a mixing bowl, put your kale in there, and this is where the massaging part comes in. So the reason we massage it is to make it a little bit less bitter and you still get all of the great nutrition, and it's a little bit easier to digest for some people. So here I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to use about half, so about a tablespoon. We're gonna save this other part for our dressing. Then I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt, like a pinch or 2. And just get your hands dirty. So you're just gonna put them in here and massage the kale. As you're massaging the kale, you'll notice that it kind of gets like a really pretty green color, and that is kind of what we're looking for. You'll massage it for like a minute, like 60 seconds. Nothing crazy. Get that done, and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, next up is the citrus in our citrus quinoa bowl. So for this, I like to use blood oranges. You can use mandarin, any kind of orange really, even a tangerine would work. But I love blood oranges, so if you can find them, I recommend them. So I'm gonna start by just cutting this. See that pretty blood orange color? And we're just removing all of kind of this white part, all that pith you wanna get off. If a little bit of the pith remains, that's okay, but it just doesn't taste very good, so better to get rid of it. Now that we've got our blood oranges all peeled and cut, the next thing we're gonna do is we just wanna cut these into bite-sized pieces, and if you have any seeds, just make sure you get those out at this point. But again, we're just looking for bite-sized pieces, so maybe like an inch or so on each side. Doesn't need to be perfect, but just, you know, get rid of that seed. Just enough to take a little bite of. You can see why they call these blood oranges. They kind of make a mess. Kind of looks like a crime scene over here, but they're so good. I think they're a little bit sweeter than regular oranges, so if you can find them, that's why I think they're worth it. Okay, we're gonna set these aside. Now we are going to make our creamy apple cider vinaigrette. So what makes it creamy is I like to use Greek yogurt. You can use mayo, that works perfectly as well. So this is about 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. I am going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then here I have half a teaspoon of salt and pepper. Put that right in. And a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And now I'll just literally mix this together until it kind of like gets creamy. So we're just gonna whisk this together until it kind of gets to a white, creamy sauce. And next is the fun part. We're just gonna plate this. You can do this in like, you know, make ahead containers and put it together for the week for your lunches. It's really great to meal prep for dinners. So here we go. I've got about a cup of prepared quinoa. And I am just going to divide that between 2 servings. Another thing I like to do is make this for 2 meals, and so it's great to eat for dinner one night and then take for lunch the next day. And like I said, you can double it, quadruple it, make it for the whole week. All right, next, got our massaged kale. Again, you had about half a cup or so. I'm just dividing this between 2 servings. All of the servings, portions, etc. are on the blog and in the notes here, so you can refer to that if you have any questions. Now we have our butternut squash. And I'm just gonna use the same spoon because it makes it easier. If you want, you could add a protein to this, like tofu, chicken works really great on this, just like roasted chicken or a rotisserie chicken, anything like that. If you want to make your dressing vegan, you can use a coconut yogurt or like a vegan mayonnaise. Anything like that will work great. And then now we have these bowls. We've got our quinoa, we've got our butternut squash. I am adding our blood orange. Just gonna put that all on top. So colorful. It's just like a bright, you know, great salad. It uses all the winter vegetables. They just really go together so well. And it's something light, but yet filling enough for these winter months. When you maybe are sick of the heavier foods, this is a perfect kind of transition dish. All right, now I've got our dressing and I'm just gonna like drizzle that all on top. Just like that. Like I said, this is super easy. If you were making ahead, you could put the dressing on ahead of time or put it on a little on the side. This can hold up pretty well to dressing, so that's just like a preference thing. And then last but not least, a little salty feta. Totally up to you. You can leave this off. Some roasted salted nuts would work great too. And there you have it. This is our winter citrus quinoa bowl. You can get all of the details, watch the full video on natalieparamore.com. Just search Citrus Quinoa Bowl.